Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. You see this smile? I cannot wipe this smile off my face. I have watched that Cunha goal on repeat, on repeat, on repeat, on repeat. The freaking biggest. The freaking biggest. I cannot wait to get into everything we've got to talk about today. Obviously, we're going to touch on the game yesterday. Just hit bits here and there because we've also got some news to bring in as well. We've got some transfer news. It looks like Joshua Zirkzee is getting closer to that exit door. An update on Man Utd and a potential exit for him. Also, Thomas Tuchel or Michael Carrick. I mean, it's not as simple as that, but I've heard a lot of conversation about whether Michael Carrick should get the full-time job at Manchester United. If things carry on the way that they are, that would mean, not going for the likes of a Thomas Tuchel who's been there, done that, won it. What do you think? What would you want to do? And I think there's way more to this story. I think Michael Carrick still has a lot to do to be in that conversation. And of course, on fans forums after the game, you're getting carried away, you're having banter, you're saying, get the contract out, sign the contract. However, Michael Carrick, you have changed my life for the better. I have not felt the way that I have felt in the last 2 weeks, or the last week actually, because I think it's been a week, 8 days since the derby. I've not felt like this I can't even remember the last time. I think the last time I felt anything like this was when we won the FA Cup against City. That's how long it's been to have this consistent feeling of excitement. So Michael Carrick, he deserves credit 1,000,000%. However, you can't just win these 2 games and then get handed the Man United job. He's done an incredible job so far. Long may it continue. And I actually think, he's unbeaten as Manchester United manager. From the first stint and this stint, and look at the teams he's played. We've played the big teams, we've played the tough teams. Can you do it against Fulham at home? Can you go and do it, against teams that Manchester United are expected to go out and win? Let's see. I think there's a lot of games to be played yet. Have that conversation at the end of the season. Let's see how we do against multiple different types of opposition. However, so far so good, and I very much do like what I'm seeing. And I know a lot of people won't want to say this, but I think a lot of credit will also go to the backroom staff that has come in. Steve Holland has got a lot of experience. I know people were very on the fence about Jonathan Woodgate because of that Leeds connection. And I get that, but he also has a lot of experience in the game and he was a very, very good centre-back. And it's interesting, isn't it, to see how basic things, and I'm not saying what Michael Carrick's done is basic, because it's not, but going back to basics and changing little things which, when you look from the outside looking in, seem to be the obvious, how much that can just change things around. Things can change very quickly in football, very, very quickly, as we've seen with Liverpool. And I'm just riding this high right now as a Manchester United fan. It feels so good. It feels so good. But can we do it against Fulham? They're big, important questions. I'm not getting the banners out on balloons saying, must sign Michael Carrick as permanent manager now. Let's see how we do from now until the end of the season. And then if we do really well, if we get Champions League, if we have results that we've had over the last 2 games, let's have a conversation. Doesn't mean we have to give him the permanent job. Let's have a conversation. That's what I'm going to say on that. But you get your comments in. How are you feeling? I'm going to run a poll right now. Permanent Manchester United manager, just to get the feelers out. And again, we're not jumping to conclusions. Just to get the feelers out. Tuchel or Carrick. I want to see what you guys would rather as of now. It's just conversation. It's hypothetical. Let's talk about it. Anyway. We also have some quotes on Steady Larmans on what Michael Carrick has done. And I was having a discussion actually with Cecil before. And he finally got back to my message. He was ducking last night, Cecil from AFTV. And he said, come on then, Beth. Are you going to sign Carrick full-time then? Or are you going to say, oh no, we don't want to do what we did with Ollie. Are you going to sign him full-time? Because he was saying, you look like a serious team. And I said, Cecil, we can't get carried away. I know you get carried away with the league title, thinking you're going to win it in January. It's signed, sealed and delivered. But we can't get carried away as United fans. And we've got to just wait and see what happens. Actually, let's see if I can get that segment of the voice note up. It was a very long voice note. It was kind of going around the houses a little bit. Let's see if I can get it in.
United fans doing a whole...
Oh, here we go.
Real question.
Okay, here we go.
I still think we're in the league. Credit to Man United. Real question is, are you going to sign Carrick full-time or what? Or are you just going to stop? Or are you United fans doing a whole... We have to take game by game. We've done this with Ollie. Because I'll tell you what, something's working really well. Whether it's maybe the obvious things, because sometimes I look at it and I said, Ruben Amorim was doing so much silly stuff, the 5 at the back or whatever, and playing players out of position, dropping players that shouldn't be dropped. And my Carrick's just done the obvious. Maybe it's that, but if it's not that, and he's definitely doing something right. So that's the question. Make him full-time, permanent? Let me know.
Anyway, and then he goes on, trying to make loads of excuses. But we're not having them excuses. Manchester United, we danced on you in your own backyard, and I absolutely love it. Anyway, what do you think of that? Already got a super chat coming in. We have Paul Cassidy saying, personally think it's too early to consider Carrick for the perm role. Should be asked to interview versus other coaches at the end of the season. Bang on, Paul. I have a track record, if you've been watching the United stand for a long time, of getting carried away, and I'm trying not to. I am a very reactionary person in all aspects of life. Everyone who knows me will tell you that as well. I react extremely emotionally, and then I think about it over the course of, a day or a week or a few hours, and I think, you know what, actually, let's be reasonable about this. Let's show some rationale. So after the game at the Emirates, I'm there like, yes, Michael Carrick, woo! Absolutely buzzing, but I'm thinking about it, and I don't want to rush into saying he should get the permanent Manchester United job. As good as of a job he is doing, I agree with Paul. At the end of the season, depending on how he's done, you put him into a conversation, you interview him. If he does really, really well in the league, you interview him. You interview Tuchel, you interview Nagelsmann, and you see who's best for the job. However, what I don't agree with is what Roy Keane said. Look, I've agreed with a lot of Roy Keane has said in the past, and I've also disagreed with a lot of what Roy Keane says. That's the beauty of human conversation. I mean, I've not spoke to Roy Keane personally. It's the beauty of humanity. Sometimes you'll agree with someone, sometimes you won't. I think it's very, very rare that with one individual you agree with absolutely everything that they say, because everyone's got their own mind and their own opinions. You know what they say about opinions. You know what they say about them. However, what I didn't agree with what Roy Keane said was that if Carrick won every single game from now until the end of the season, he shouldn't be in the discussion to be Manchester United permanent manager. I'm not saying give him the job, but you'd put him in the discussion. You would put him in the discussion. It's like saying no matter what you do in life, no matter how good you do, no, you're never going to get the reward for it. And it's like, you've got, the proof is in the pudding. If he does extremely well from now until the end of the season, he has to go into the conversation. And I believe in that, because you've got to prove something. You absolutely have to prove something. Why should other managers go into the conversation and not a manager that has done extremely well in a period of actually doing the job? Like I said, I'm not saying give him a job, but you shouldn't absolutely categorically rule him out because his name's Michael Carrick, because he's not, the glamorous option. If he does a good job, he should be considered. Don't have to give him the job, but considered. Keel Robinson says, if they are getting full 100% backing, Tuchel. If they are not, then Carrick. Keel, I think that's a really, really, really good super chat, because Tuchel will require a lot of money. He'll require a lot of backing. And I think Carrick is the type of the manager that he gets the best out of what he has. And that's no disrespect to Carrick. But because, he's not coming in with that reputation of Champions League winner, serial winner, coach that has managed at massively top level clubs over a significant period of time and won things, he can't really come in with the same demands as a Thomas Tuchel. I mean, you could, but I don't think you'd get that from United. I think he's a manager who would be buzzing to have the job, and I'm not saying he's desperate for the job at all. He walked in the door and he said, I know what I'm getting myself into. It's a 6-month job, and I'm happy with that. It was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer who sat in the interview and kind of wanted assurances if he did well that he'd be considered. And I think that is a fair comment, to be honest with you. But with Michael Carrick, he'll work with what he's had, and he's done that now. With Thomas Tuchel, he will come in there demanding a lot. So I completely get Keel's point on that. What I will say with Michael Carrick is, I know it's short term, and I know over a longer period of time it is different, but I don't hear any excuses. I don't hear any excuses about the squad size. I don't hear any excuses about squad depth. I don't hear any excuses. He's getting the best out of what he has. And that is what managers who are going to be successful at their jobs do. You get the best out of what you have. I'm not saying if you gave Michael Carrick the full-time job and you just kept that squad forever and never reinvested in it and didn't get better players, he would keep winning the way that he has done the last 2 games. I'm not saying that whatsoever. Of course you've got to invest. Of course you've got to better your team. But you earn that right. You earn that right. For example, if, hypothetically, Carrick did get the Manchester United job and he was doing super well with the team that he currently has, look at what he's getting out of them players. And I actually think there is some good players in that squad. There's absolutely additions that need to be made, and there's absolutely areas we still need to improve. But we have got a squad that can get Champions League football, and we have got a squad that can be competitive, especially a front line. Midfield and defence needs a little bit of work, but we've got the bones of a really good squad. If you get the best out of that squad, and you're doing really well with that squad, then you earn the right for the investment. You earn the right to go and spend a load of money on the midfielder. You earn the right to go and get a new right back, go and get a new left back, because you've proved you can coach. You can coach as a manager, and you've proved to be successful. And so you reinvest for more success to keep climbing that ladder. And that's what I think some people forget sometimes is, if a manager comes in, okay, yeah, you've got to back him. But sometimes I think you can be guilty of getting on the wrong train and staying on it for too long. And I don't want to go back in time, but get off the train and get on the right one. And it's just whether Michael Carrick is the right one or not, and that's yet to be seen. Paul Cassidy says, the clues were there. Amorim had poor leadership behaviours in what he said and about the players. Cost us millions with the bomb squad approach as well. What I will say about Amorim, and I've not been his biggest fan, as you well know on this show, I got absolute pelters on it for weeks for saying I wasn't happy with the way that the club was being managed, and the team was being managed, and the results and the performances. But I don't want to harp on about Ruben Amorim. He's gone, and I really don't want to go back in time about that. It is what it is. Let's move forward. But what I will say about him is he did do some things that were positive. I think Garnacho had to go. I think it was the right time for Rashford to move on. And it's been better for Rashford's career. Like, he's doing very well at Barcelona, and I think that's a good environment for him. I do think getting rid of Onana was absolutely the right thing to do. We had to move Onana on. Højlund, he's gone to Napoli and he scored a few goals, yeah, but he wasn't a Manchester United level striker. So I do think that there is certain decisions that we made in terms of moving players on that Amorim was instrumental in that were correct. Like, them players should have been moved on at the time, and I think that was a positive thing. And what I'll say, and I was speaking to my dad about this last night, you're not going to win every game of football. You're absolutely not. And you want to win every game, and you want to fight tooth and nail to win every game, but there will be games that we lose, and there will be performances where we're scratching our heads, because that's football. Arsenal are title contenders and probably favourites to win the Premier League. Yeah, they've just had a performance where the fans are frustrated and they're scratching their heads. Every team has hiccups, every team has bumps. But what I saw from this Manchester United side, and what I've seen from them over the last couple of weeks, is a very likeable team. And Manchester United's team hasn't always been likeable. But this team is very, very likeable. Cunha, maverick, works his socks off, passion, hungry for success. And Mbeumo works his absolute socks off and is so technically good. If you want someone to score you a goal from a difficult position, get Brian Mbeumo onto it. His conversion rate is crazy. Ahmad, work ethic through the roof, fights tooth and nail, covering every blade of grass, also technically brilliant. Bruno Fernandes, he's the heart of Manchester United. He's not 100% perfect, no he's not, and he can frustrate you, and I get that he's got a personality that can sometimes frustrate a certain personality type, but I absolutely love him. He will give everything for this football club and give everything for the badge, and he's super emotional. He's likeable for a Manchester United fan, not for other fans, but for Man United fans. Casemiro, elite mentality, a winner. Again, not always a perfect performance, but he's a likeable character. Mainoo, a very likeable character, come through the academy. Is representative of what this football club has been built upon. Harry Maguire, what he's come through mentally, and dropping brilliant performances in this later stage of his career. Excellent in the derby, manhandling Bernardo Silva, manhandled Gabriel, the best centre-back in the league yesterday, and had a man-of-the-match performance. There's likeable figures in this team. Lamens, everybody's rooting for him, and how comfortable does he look between the sticks? So this United side is not perfect, and it definitely needs additions all over the pitch. However, it's got a likeable energy about it, and a team that wants to do well and is hungry to do well, and that's kind of nice to see as a Manchester United fan. Shubham says, midfielders turn out to be good managers. Look at Pep, Fabregas, Xabi, Arteta, the list goes on. It's worth investing in Carrick. Give him 2 years. Do you know what? My dad said that to me last night, actually. He mentioned that he's at point that very good midfielders tend to be very good managers. And I'm not saying that Michael Carrick's going to be the next Zinedine Zidane. He's not going to be the next Fabregas and Xabi and Arteta. But to be fair, he's had Arteta's number twice. He's beat Pep. Oh, I'm getting carried away. But I think it's a good point. Thank you, everyone, for getting your super chats in. Thank you for the United Stand memberships as well. Smash a like on the video if you've not already. Robert Golden says, does De Ligt play when he returns? Currently, do you know what? It's mad, isn't it? Because De Ligt was on for Player of the Year at Man United before he got injured. But this is how quickly things can change in football. He's not displacing Martinez and Maguire after the last two performances they've put in. As much as you would think he has to come back in, Maguire was man of the match last game and he was excellent in the derby. Yeah, Lisandro Martinez had that hiccup for the goal, but have you seen that compilation of the way he was dictating play from the midfield, from centre back? Lisandro Martinez is the best passing centre back, I would say, in the league. His passing from that centre back position is a joke. He's so good at it. Yes, from time to time, there might be a defensive hiccup from him. I think he's so emotionally invested, and I think sometimes he can make the odd mistake. However, he's so crucial. Leadership, passion, and he's passing. He dictates the game from the back, and he just has a calmness and coolness. When he's on the ball, you are not worried in the slightest. He brings them line-breaking passes. When you want to break down a low block, and let's be honest, Arsenal, they can play in a low block. They've been nicknamed, haven't they, Stoke City FC. They know how to frustrate you. Martinez is so crucial to kind of start breaking down them defences with his line-breaking passes. So both of them players have done really, really well over the last two games. It's crazy to think, De Ligt wouldn't come back into the team. You'd think De Ligt is going to get back into this team. But this is a good thing. You want competition for places. You want Michael Carrick to be sat there thinking, who am I going to play? Because Maguire has been excellent. Martinez is instrumental to the way we play. But De Ligt, he's the best centre-back we've got. So that's a headache that you want to have as a Manchester United manager. Is Zirkzee leaving? Let me get on to that part because we've got absolutely sidetracked. And I want to get in the news about Joshua Zirkzee. So this is coming in from Gazzetta, and it is that Juventus have opened fresh contacts over a move for Joshua Zirkzee. And there's a lot of Italian reports coming out that both Roma and Juventus are very, very keen on signing Joshua Zirkzee. Look, Joshua Zirkzee, he loves Manchester United, and there's no doubt about that. You can see, what he was posting on Instagram the other day. He's a very liked member of the squad, and he loves the club. But he wants to play football and he wants game time, and I don't think he's going to get it. I think Joshua Zirkzee does have to move on. I'm going to be honest, I do think he has to move on, and I don't think he's a player that's necessarily suited to the Premier League. I think there is a player in Joshua Zirkzee, but I think his attributes much suit a league like the Serie A. I really do think his attributes suit that kind of football more than what the Premier League does. And Ricky will absolutely go mad at me for this because he loves Serie A. Serie A is... I'm not disrespecting it by just saying it's different. It's a different game. I mean, it's the same game, but it's played in a different way, slightly. It is a slower paced league. The Premier League it's a different kettle of fish. And I'm not disrespecting Serie A because they've done very, very well in the Champions League teams from that league. And I enjoy watching some Serie A games. I think it's intelligent football. And I think you have to be massively switched on when you're playing in that league. However, I just think it suits the playing style of Joshua Zirkzee more. Loves it into his feet, loves the technical side of the game, but maybe needs a slightly more bit of time on the ball. He thrives where you don't rely on pace so much and physicality so much. He's very good with the ball at his feet. He's very good in tight spaces, and that's why I think he suits the Serie A more. And I think he needs to move on. As much as I've always wanted him to do well, and I've kind of fought Joshua Zirkzee's case a lot, actually, probably a bit too hard sometimes, he's not going to get into this United side, I don't think, especially when you're playing the back four, the 4-2-3-1. Where does he play? He's never going to play as the cam because you have Bruno, you have Mount, and you have Cunha, who would all be ahead of him in that position. And he's not going to play as a striker because, again, you're probably going to have Cunha, Sesko and Mbeumo over him in that position. So I think Joshua Zirkzee, the only chance of game time he's really got is coming off the bench. And even that, if he was in the squad yesterday, do you think he would have come off the bench? I don't know. And I don't think he would have come off the bench in the derby as well, because even Sesko hasn't started. And whether Sesko starts against Fulham, we'll have to wait and see. I think in certain games, Sesko will start. But if Sesko starts, is Zirkzee coming off the bench? Because either Mbeumo, Ahmad, Cunha, or Dorgu's going to be on the bench as well. It's competitive now in that front line, and I just don't see Zirkzee getting the game time. So I think he's got to move on. I really do. And especially, the rumours are that Manchester United want to go and look for an experienced striker to come in and help Benjamin Sesko in the summer. If you're going to go and buy an experienced striker, then Zirkzee literally has no chance. And I think that's the right move from United, by the way. I think that is the right move. I think Zirkzee's got to move on. I don't think there's a space for him in the team. And I think you do go and replace him with an experienced striker who can, help Sesko develop a little bit. So I think United should let Zirkzee go in this window as well, because I just don't see him being that important from now until the end of the season. I mean, he might prove me wrong, but I think Zirkzee could leave tomorrow and we wouldn't be sat here in a couple months' time saying we never should have let Zirkzee go. Obviously, let's hope that we don't have any injuries or major setbacks within the squad. But we're playing one game a week. We're out the FA Cup, we're out the Carabao Cup. It's literally just the Premier League from now until the end of the season. I don't see Zirkzee being that big of a requirement for Manchester United to push for them Champions League spots. But let me know what your thoughts and feelings are on that. Savage says, how much do I have to beg? Get Harry Kane and we win the Prem. Harry Kane to United. Oh! That was strange. Harry Kane to United isn't happening, everyone. I had this dream. I mean, there's no point even talking about it. I had this dream a couple of years ago. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't see Harry Kane coming to Manchester United. Never say never. He's absolutely insane. And I remember when we were linked to Harry Kane, that summer when it was either Kane or Højlund. And there was, we've all made mistakes. We've all made mistakes, but I get beaten with my mistakes every single day. But there was people genuinely saying, I don't want Harry Kane. I don't want Harry Kane. Blows my mind. He blows my mind. He's a ridiculous striker. There was people out there that actually thought Højlund would be a better striker for United than Harry Kane was going to be. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But there was a lot of people that also was desperate to get Gyökeres for Man United in the summer as well. And I'm glad we dodged that bullet. Savage says, what if we get Champions League? Who knows? Who knows? Never say never. But I don't think we go and get Harry Kane. The amount of money that will cost, getting a new manager. I don't see United making that type of signing anymore. But who knows? Yeah, I can already see the comments coming in. Oh, it's a little bit of banter, guys. A little bit of banter. We have Gaz United says, Kane, give me Anderson. That should be our number one. Interesting, actually, because there's loose rumours that Wharton to Liverpool could be happening. Not right now, but there's loose rumours I saw on X that Adam Wharton is getting closer to Liverpool from Crystal Palace. And there was a journalist with quite a lot of followers actually on X, and I didn't bring him into the show because I'm not sure how reliable he actually is, but apparently that the rumour is that's getting closer. And if Adam Wharton went to Liverpool, I wouldn't sit here and cry my eyes out. I think Adam Wharton is a very, very good player. Very good player. I think it'd be a really, really good addition for Liverpool, and I think he'd suit that team. He's not the top of my list for Manchester United. I'm going to be so honest about that. And I'm putting my neck on the line saying that because he might go on to be like the best midfielder in the Premier League, and people will come back to this and saying, what does she know? But from watching Adam Wharton, you can appreciate a player and appreciate how good of a player they are and the potential they have and not think they're the right fit for your squad. The attributes he has, I think Liverpool are crying out for a player like that. I don't know if United are crying out for that sort of player right now. We have Mainoo, and I have a lot of faith in Mainoo. And I think him and Mainoo, they do it differently, but they do very, very, very similar roles. And I would much prefer, I mean, my heart is absolutely set on Elliot Anderson. And I know we need to get more than one midfielder in, but absolutely top of my list. If I can only spend, a good chunk of money on one midfielder, it's Elliot Anderson. Because he brings everything that Manchester United needs. He's got tenacity, he's got aggression, he's a great presser, he's good at reading the game, he's always looking forward, he's got an eye for a pass. And Adam Wharton, he's brilliant on the ball and he absolutely does have an eye for a pass and he's looking forward a lot as well. But I just think Elliot Anderson, as an all-round midfielder, is more of what Manchester United need right now. I would love to see Anderson and Mainoo play together in a combination and see how it works. But I don't know if we'll be able to get Anderson. I hope we can. And we're Manchester United, and I think a lot of people underestimate that sometimes. If we get Champions League football, there is no excuse for not getting Elliot Anderson. And I think we will get Champions League football. I know it might get carried away, but if we do get Champions League football, we have to go all out for Elliot Anderson, and that's just my opinion. Some people would prefer Wharton. I think Anderson's attributes would suit Manchester United better. Wharton's still a very good player, but I don't see us spending 80 million on Anderson and then another 60 million on Wharton. I think I see us signing one big midfielder and then one for around, maybe 40, 50 million. My big midfielder, it's got to be Elliot Anderson for me. We've got another super chat in from Nos Gaming saying, Ruben managed to win back-to-back after 35 games. Carrick's first 2 games was against the best 2 teams in the Premier League, but he got his first back-to-back immediately. If he continues to perform well, I can't think of anyone more deserving. Well, we've got to wait and see if he can perform well. Again, let's not get carried away, but I think that's an absolutely brilliant point. Also, do you remember that, Usman brought it up on the fans forum yesterday, but do you remember that comment that kept going round that Mainoo had started in the Grimsby game and the Brighton game, the 2 cup games where Man United got knocked out and everyone was blaming Mainoo. And now he started against Man City and Arsenal and we've won both games. And I'm not saying... And it just shows... And we didn't win against Man City and Arsenal purely because of Mainoo. It's a team game. Just like how in Grimsby and Brighton, it's a team game. Of course, when you have a better team out there and better players out there, better individuals, you're more likely to win a game of football. But the narratives that people kind of run with because it suits them and everyone's guilty of it. But it just shows, doesn't it? That was just something that was getting put out there that it wasn't being said in the right way. And Mainoo sort of proved in the last 2 games he is capable of playing in a midfield with Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes. He is capable of being a starter for Manchester United. Do I think he had a better game in the derby? Yes. I still think he played really well against Arsenal. He does the basics right. And when you do the basics right and to a really good standard, you've got a great foundation to build upon. And Mainoo again has that calmness. He's a footballer who doesn't treat the ball like a hot potato, and you need players like that in your team, and he brings that calmness to our midfield as well. Few more things I want to bring in. So this is what Senny Larman's had to say on Michael Carrick and what he's changed. And keep voting in that poll. I'm going to bring them poll results in very, very shortly. So Senny Larman's on what Michael Carrick has changed. He said, to be honest, there's not many special things he did. It's just like sticking to the basics. Football is basics. If you do the basics well, then the quality of us comes out. And I think we have players with the quality that can make the difference. But if you just do the basics right technically, with standing right, defending good together, and just playing as a team, to be honest, he made it really clear what he wants from us and what he expects from us. And people might say, oh, so he's just said to them, go out and have fun, lads. And it's just vibes FC at the moment. And that's not what's coming from Senny Larman's there. What Michael Carrick, I feel like, and we don't know because we're not in the conversation behind the scenes, what I feel like he's done, I think he's come into the club with very experienced coach, with a very experienced coach like Steve Holland, with Jonathan Woodgate, who has performed at the highest level as a player and is identified how to get the best out of that squad. He's put a clear message out to them about what is expected from you at Manchester United. He's filled them with confidence, he's taught them up, and he's played players in their correct positions and gave them the platform and the foundation to do well. We do have some talented players in our squad, and a lot of this game is also the mental side as well. And he's clearly, I don't know what he's done, but something, he's tapped into something in the mentality of these players, because you can see the difference. And of course, there's things that we can talk about in terms of the way we defend, the way that we press forward, the cohesion within the team. And I think all of that is, we could talk about that, and you can see the difference that Carrick and his coaches have made. But I think the big thing is that he's put a clear message across these players. They understand what they want from him. It's not rigid. It's not, a 10-step process on how we're going to do this, and this is what you need to do in this position. It might be just going back to the basics and getting the basics spot on, but football is a simple game sometimes, and whatever he has done it's getting the best out of these players. How long it can continue for, let's see. But what I will say is an interim manager. Carrick's beat Villarreal. He's drawn with Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea. He's got Arteta twice. He's got Pep Guardiola. He's doing a very, very good job. And of course, we're just looking at this time round. But you don't just go and beat Pep Guardiola at Old Trafford in the derby. And by the way, put a fantastic performance together where there's chance after chance after chance, and then go and beat Arsenal, title favourites, and people saying the best defence in Europe, and top of the Champions League group, and put 3 goals past him from just vibes. Like, there is more to it than that. But what he's done is clearly having an impact on the players, and I think it's very, very telling how the players are talking about him as well. And Martinez, when he got interviewed after the derby, he was talking about how he couldn't believe what Michael Carrick and his coaches were able to do in 3 games, about having confidence on the ball and what they're teaching the players. Cunha is saying how together that they're feeling. He's bigging it up behind the scenes as well. And then Sonny Lamans, again, he's talking about, it's such a clear message that Carrick has put across. And of course, players are going to want to talk well about the management because they want to play games. You're not going to come out and slag your boss off. Like that, you're just not going to do that in any walk of life, really, unless you want the sack or unless you don't want to play. But I think you can read into a few things that's happened and interviews that have been held and just watch the game, and you can see what a positive impact Carrick has had within the short space of time that he's been there. So we've got another super chat in from Nos Gaming saying Ruben managed. Oh, I've done that one. Keel Robinson says I want Ndidi. I saw Mark's show this morning and he said we still need to go and get Ndidi, and it's not as if he's massively wanting Ndidi, it's just something over nothing, because he clearly doesn't trust Ugarte to come on, because he's not played Ugarte, even though you would want to kind of freshen up that midfield area. And can Casemiro, Bruno and Mainoo last 90 minutes until the end of the season every single game? And I get that point. I don't know. I'm kind of unfazed by it. If we didn't sign Ndidi, I wouldn't be bothered. If we signed him, I wouldn't be too bothered, as long as it was a loan. But I don't think he solves many problems for Manchester United. What I can't get my head around is if we hadn't made a change of manager, we could be sat here right now with Kobbie Mainoo holding up a Napoli shirt and Conor Gallagher holding up a United shirt. That's what could have happened, so count your lucky stars for that. PMC 1010 says, honestly, what is wrong with United fans? Too much thinking with the heart and not the brain. Didn't we learn from Ollie? Carrick over Tuchel is mad talk. Mad talk. Josh the Red replied, you like a low block counter-attack. Can I just say, you can't... Tuchel has done very, very well as a manager. I'm going to stick by my guns and say, this was before Carrick was even announced as interim. Tuchel was never my first choice as Manchester United manager. If we get him, I'll back him, and it's not as if I'm against him. I think he's a good manager. I'm just not absolutely sold on his style of football. I'm just not. I'm not absolutely sold on Tuchel. He won't be my first choice. Carrick wouldn't have been my first choice before he came the interim either. So I think let's take it, game by game from now until the end of the season. Let's see how Michael Carrick does. I think there should be a formal interview process, but I'm saying Tuchel or Carrick because Tuchel seems to be the favourite outside of the, everything to do with Carrick. It's very much been put in the headlines, De Zerbi and Tuchel, and I think Tuchel would probably edge out De Zerbi, and I think he would probably be the most likely candidate for INEOS to go with in the summer. That's why I ran that poll. Tuchel won't really be my first choice. There's other managers out there that I'd probably get over him. If we got him, I'd get behind it. But yeah, it's Tuchel CV, obviously, completely, outshines what Carrick's done. But Carrick, he's on the job now and he's getting an opportunity to kind of show what he can do. And it's like try before you buy, isn't it? Although I don't think he should be tarnished with the same brush as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But I get why Man United fans are so scared to do that. And I do want to say this on the show as well. Like I said, I don't want to say the same thing over and over again. If Carrick continues like this, you have to put him in the conversation and you have to interview him. But I am also scared, like Goldbridge said on the show this morning, that if we did make Carrick the permanent manager, I'd be so scared that it would end badly. And we'd be thinking to ourselves, we went down this road before, why did we allow ourselves to get too emotionally attached again? And we'd be kicking ourselves. However, if he did really well and we didn't get him, we get on another manager and the other manager didn't do as well and he ended up failing, we'd be kicking ourselves saying, why didn't we go with Michael Carrick? We should have trusted that stint. And, you can't label everybody the same just because, for example, you go on holiday and you have a bad experience at your hotel, it wasn't what the pictures looked like, and you think, I'm never staying here again, doesn't mean you couldn't book the same destination in a different hotel and have a really nice time and it be one of the best holidays you've ever been on. Not everything is the same. Like, Ole and Carrick might not be the same, and Carrick might go on to be absolutely amazing, but we just don't know. And it's the fear of the unknown, and it's the fact that we have to get this decision right. It's a big swinging doors moment for Manchester United this summer, and we have to get the permanent manager position right. And honestly, I'm going to be honest, I'm quite glad it's not me making the decision. I don't know if I trust the people who are making the decision, but I'm glad it's not me, because right now, I'm absolutely over the moon with Carrick. And if it continues, it really does put the cat amongst the pigeons, and you think, which way do you go with this one? It's going to be interesting to see how the fan base kind of react to it. Thank you, everyone, for getting your comments in. Anil Sekshar says, we can judge Carrick only towards the end of the season. We still haven't had a long spell of possession in the opposition half. Like I said, I really want to see games against the likes of Fulham at home. And Fulham are doing pretty well at the moment. I want to see games against teams that United have to go and are expected to be at Old Trafford. It just in terms of votes on the poll, permanent manager as of now, Carrick has 61% and Tuchel has 39%. Michael Carrick, you've changed our lives. You've changed our lives in the space of 8 days. Football is very reactionary, isn't it? Very reactionary. Let's just see what happens from now until the end of the season. However, the games that Carrick has showed us, I am moved. I am moved. Honestly, the next chant of the game is, are you Sir Alex in disguise? Who's going to start that one off? Oh, anyway, just to kind of wrap up as well, there was a little bit coming out about Manuel Ugarte. Man United are not keen on loaning out Ugarte mid-season. There's no new offer from Galatasaray at the moment. Yeah, I think Ugarte is going to be one that moves on in the summer. And I think that will happen. And I think it's the right move for both Manchester United and Ugarte. Carrick, I don't think really fancies him, and I'm not surprised considering Carrick and what he was like as a midfielder. He played the game completely differently to the way Ugarte does. Like I said, I still think Ugarte for the last 20 minutes of a game when you're up against it and you're trying to show up shop is a decent option, but he's not. And it is a squad game. It's, you do need a squad. However, I think in the summer, if we're investing into the midfield, I could say Ugarte moving on, to be honest with you. Nos Gaming says, picture a man pacing for 15 minutes. Picture a man sitting with his hands folded in his lap, looking down at the ground when Man United prepares for free kicks and penalties. With this negativity now gone, I knew things would change. Honestly, are you my dad in disguise, Nos Gaming? You keep putting things in that me and my dad were having a conversation about last night. I always ring him on the way back from the studio after I've done the fans forum or on the way back from a game, and just talk about United. Like, that's what we do, because we don't get to watch the games together anymore because I'm always doing the United stand, and that's something I used to do with him every single week growing up. I know, world's smallest violin. I love what I do, but he was saying just to have someone on the touchline that looks confident. You know, no messing about. Carrick, cool, calm, collected, composed, looks confident. Body language is massive. Subconsciously, it is massive. So I think that is a really good comment. I mean, when he couldn't even watch the penalties at Grimsby, that was a bad look. Poke Champ says, we must suffer for 14 months, yet Carrick changes my entire life in 2 matches. Amorim did permanent damage, making me think the likes of Fulham away would be hidings. Yeah, I mean, Amorim was right. The good times will come. But we were waiting for Michael Carrick for that to happen. Tom Best says, I hope we get Michael Carrick, but we need to give him a 6-month contract and see how he does before we offer a long contract. Look, thank you everyone for getting involved with the comments, smashing a like on the video. I'm on cloud 9 and I'm not coming down anytime soon. And also, do you remember the last time you just couldn't wait for United to play again? Like, I'm itching to go to Old Trafford. I can't wait for Sunday. I'm like, it's times like this where I miss European football so much. Like, I cannot wait to see Carrick ball again. I'm just so hungry to see Man United play. And there's been certain instances where we've just put in a drab performance, like that Everton game. That Everton game, I remember standing in the crowd when we were down to 10 men, and I think I turned to the girl behind me. We always talk kind of like when we're at the game, and I said, like, this is one of the lowest I have ever felt as a United fan. Like, this is torturous. It's like pulling teeth. And I've gone from that to I cannot wait to get. I'm going to be bouncing up them stairs on Sunday into my seat, and I just cannot wait to go and watch United play again. And yeah, we've got to prove ourselves against Fulham. It's a cup final from now until the end of the season. But I just feel such a positive energy around Manchester United right now, and I'm excited for the next game. But anyway, smash a like on the video if you've not already. Thank you everyone for watching. Have a lovely week. Go into everything with a smile. You deserve it. Get your United top on. Get yourself out and about. Wear it with pride. Thank you for watching. North London forever.